This is kind of another way of advertising though, right? It sounds like these guys are trying to really make this a more structured format.
You got to think about distribution. You got to think about how to get eyeballs to your content, and you have to try different experiments. I think we're going to see people try this out. Here's a creator fund. It actually lowers the operational challenges for the platform to kind of roll this out, because they don't have to go and find people and then negotiate contracts. I honestly think it's really cool. I think it incentivizes people to go out and create amazing content at scale. You are going to comment on something, reference experts. Don't try and pretend to know something or put an informed opinion, because even with the best intent, in the world, and like you really just were trying to help, you'll say something wrong. You almost can never get it absolutely right.
I don't even delve into it, because that's 10 minutes, 5 minutes that I could spend on it, that I could spend replying to other things, creating another video, working on another stream. You don't want to give up your mental bandwidth to a lot of that. I can't let it detract from the work that I'm already doing, and it can be difficult, especially because it is live.
Just through repetition of trying things and making mistakes that you start to become more confident. And the same is true with shorts. It's a new format. This is my challenge to those that are listening that are content creators. If you've been thinking about doing it for a while, whether it's shorts or TikTok, by the end of this week, just do one.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the State of Streaming show. It is great to see you all here live tuning in with us. We also upload all of these as videos afterwards, but in this series, we sit down, look at some of the events that are going on in the industry, streaming, content creation in general, keep you updated, as well as share some of our thoughts about what's going on in the creator space and what it means for all of us, including ourselves. My name, of course, is StoneMount64. If you haven't seen me, full-time streamer, also co-founder of Pipeline, joined with Snoop.
Hey everybody, I am Snoopy, as Stone said. Excited to be here with you. Former professional player in League of Legends, turned corporate guy after working at Facebook for a couple of years, and now building Pipeline with Stone.
A ton of different topics for us today. First of all, pay to win with collaborations. Some interesting stories kind of on that front unfolding, with a lot of viewership coming in off of it. TikTok paying out now $2 billion to creators.
Wild. That is insane.
Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, you'll see the number jump as we get into some of those things, but very, very wild. How to help with your community's mental health problems, which is always a big topic in general, especially over these last, year and a half, 2 years or so. It's been pretty crazy, but there's also other topics, even just dealing with, people coming in on your chat, how to deal with trolls. We'll talk about some of that, as well as, some of YouTube short strategy, how YouTube shorts work, what that even is, if you guys haven't been following along with it. So a lot of different topics to get into. And with that, I think we roll the first one.
Let's go, Mark.
TikTok creator SHUMATE pays Snoop Dogg $5,000 and gets 10 million TikTok followers. The TikTok has Snoop saying, "Swing your hair, girl, there you go, girl," as she brushes and shakes her hair. Willow Smith had no comment. So where do I sign up? Pearpop is a new platform that monetizes creator-to-creator credibility, or rather, creators can pay larger creators to get them to engage with their content. On the Pearpop platform, users buy collaboration with larger talent by either submitting their original sound or video for the talent to use in their own content or comment on. Each Pearpop creator has a minimum bid price for a collaboration. Snoop starts at about $250 for a comment. But the buyer doesn't pay anything until the bid and collaboration proposal are accepted. The talent can either accept or reject proposals, and counteroffers can ensue. Pearpop's founder is a male model turned club promoter who realized that success as a full-time, really ridiculously good-looking person was dependent on your network. The more followers you have, the bigger the brand payout. Pearpop is working to expand from TikTok into YouTube, Instagram, and Clubhouse. So when should I start doing this, and is there any reason not to?
I see, the thing is, this kind of happens already, not in such a platform way, in the sense of like, hey, I'm gonna pay you, and it's like a super kind of transparent platform thing. But you'll see this kind of happening in, if you say follow some of your favorite creators, you might notice them very intentionally commenting on other people's posts. And it's almost like an intentional thing. Sometimes it's totally organic, but if you see it happening like very frequently, often what has happened is creators might say, you know what, let's make sure we're engaging on each other's content, because we know that will really help kind of get distribution within the algorithm on whether it's Twitter, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook. So this happens organically. So I think it's them noticing that this happens organically, noticing that there's a win here, and it actually helps get distribution. The question is, should you really pay for it?
Yeah. Well, there is an algorithm, just like there's an algorithm for, stuff showing up on your overall feed, that there's also, first of all, an algorithm for the comments of things, whether that's reply threads on Twitter, TikTok. Like, you might get surface things on TikTok just because somebody you follow has commented on whatever that is. It's the same on a lot of these platforms, not even on Instagram, whatever it is. So a lot of that engagement, I mean, it can be very good. This is kind of another way of advertising, though, right? Like, it's, for example, a couple years ago, I bought for a couple $100, I bought a sponsor, or I bought a spot on another creator's podcast. At the beginning of it, they looked at some of my videos, they talked about whatever I was doing and whatnot, and I gave them some stuff. And like, I did an advertisement spot on that. And this is kind of, and that was just kind of like a one-off thing, but it sounds like these guys are trying to really make this a more structured format. I think it's a difficult thing, because as you get more structured with it, and if it's not really something organic or natural or whatever it is, then first of all, it could turn off the audience of who does get surfaced it. So one of the reasons, like, I like sharing some of the things that I do share is, if I see a jump spots video or something that's really great that I think would really resonate with my content, me sharing that to my audience obviously adds a lot of credibility to that person, but it's because it works so well and I think it would work with the audience. And so that's kind of my only fear with it. And maybe it's easier for different platforms or different creators or whatever. Like, if Snoop Dogg replies to anything, that's pretty cool in general. It comes with a lot of credibility too. But I don't know what you guys would think, even in chat. Like, would that be something that you would be willing to do, like, to another creator? Do you think that'd be weird if you knew that that transaction was happening? Like, maybe it is in a spot right now where people don't even understand that that's actually happening. That, TikTok, or that Snoop Dogg just replied to this thing just because he thought it was cool, or, oh, he was paid $5,000. Okay, well, now does that take away from your
It is
interest in any
crazy
of
in
that
this
happening in
world
the first
we're
place?
heading into, like when you just think about deep fakes and like not knowing what's real and what isn't real, like you not knowing if, like, Stone or Snoopy or Snoop Dogg in this case, sorry, not Snoopy, Snoop Dogg in this case is actually doing it authentically, or because he's been on some platform and kind of incentivized it. I think my hunch is this is not something that you should look to do recurring. I think similarly, with ad spend on things like Facebook, when you're trying to push your content out there, generally you don't want to constantly do it. Like, you want to, maybe there's like a big video that you worked really hard on, or you've got like a special event going on and you want to kind of bring some extra visibility to it because you put in a lot of effort. I think it's totally cool. Like, I probably would suggest thinking of crazy ways that you can get more distribution and eyeballs to that. But as a recurring, constant strategy, I think it may come off a little inauthentic, and may not be as successful in, if I was going to spend my money spending it on that versus like investing in the content itself.
I think a problem with it too is just the volume of it. So, like, let's say we're $250 per comment from Snoop Dogg. Let's say he's doing now, like, he ends up, he gets his team behind it, and maybe he's now doing, or maybe it's not, maybe it's all him. I don't know. But
I very, I very much doubt it is all him.
let's say it's like 100 comments or 500 comments a day. It loses that value because it's happening so much, and it's not one of these rare things that are kind of going down. And so I think there is a window of opportunity probably right now before people actually realize what is going on, and that there is some type of financial thing happening, and this isn't just an organic reach for it where people don't understand that, versus, you do ad spend on something like Facebook or Google or whatever, you'll see it says sponsored, you'll see it says promotion or whatever. Like, that's very transparent and people understand what's happening, and they might just ignore it because they understand it's sponsored. Whereas this might be like and to my guess, because of that and that lack of transparency as well, it's something that all of the regulating committees do not like. You look at, like, all of these things that crack down on sponsorships and things. I think it could be a problem in the future. But there might be some people that can gain something for it. For example, 10 million followers on TikTok. That is insane. That's probably easily worth $5,000. I don't know. It depends on what they go from it and how much they retain. But
Yeah, I mean, I think this
could
is
be
something. It's
10 million
something
is
that's going to
insane.
continue to evolve. And I mean, like, some people in chat are kind of mixed opinions. Some are like authenticity is the only way, but then at the
Yeah,
same time with that, like, you
that's what I'm
really
seeing a lot too.
you got to think about distribution. You got to think about how to get eyeballs to your content, and you have to try different experiments. So I think we're going to see people try this out. I think your point's good on regulation. Like if
I don't know
they're
how
going
long it
to,
lasts.
yeah, if people, so maybe there's a grace
Or
period right now.
yeah, I don't know, but it's definitely something that's interesting that's happening, and I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this continues to develop over the next couple months.
With that, I think, talking about payout and kind of incentives, TikTok, some crazy announcements. We touched on it a little bit at the beginning of the show, but Mark, roll the clip on what TikTok's up to.
Last year, TikTok launched their creator fund that started with $200 million for the US and $70 million for the UK. Over the next 2 years, the fund will total a $1 billion payout for US creators and a payout over $2 billion worldwide for all creators. You can sign up now if you have 100,000 followers, 100,000 authentic video views in the last 30 days, you're based in the US, UK, France, Germany, Spain, or Italy, are 18 years old, upgrade to Pro, hit the menu button, then TikTok Creator Fund, then apply. Step 1, make TikTok videos. Step 2, Step 3, profit. More platforms are paying out from creator funds. Is there any reason not to shoot to get into all of those programs?
I think you're going to find it extremely, like, these are going to be really competitive, and trying to, go after every single platform's creator fund, I think you're probably going to miss. If you are intending on going after any of these, I would say focus on like crushing it in one rather than trying to go on all three, because it's just going to get really competitive. This model to me is really interesting, and I'm actually quite excited about it. To be honest, like when I was working at Facebook, one of the problems we had was there was like a chicken and egg situation. We're a new platform. We needed, great content creators to come and create content on the platform. They didn't want the switching costs, so we would have to offer some version of a contract to help entice them to come and create content so that we could build, the product with them. I think what TikTok's doing, and Snapchat is also doing something similar, which is, here's a creator fund. It actually lowers the operational challenges for the platform to kind of roll this out, because they don't have to go and find people and then negotiate contracts and kind of bring them in. It's like completely transparent. Here's a pool of money, and this is what we're trying to accomplish, which is create awesome videos, and the most awesome videos are going to get payout. And it's like relatively transparent. And I honestly think it's really cool. I think it incentivizes people to go out and create amazing content at scale in a way in which the platform can do without, breaking itself. It doesn't last forever, I don't think. But I think it's a really good way to help elevate the quality of content on these platforms, both for Snapchat and TikTok. And $2 billion. That's,
Well, they started with $200 million, right? And then to go up to a billion, like again, this kind of goes back to even what we were talking about previously, which was just the amount of funding, whether it's even on Snap, like all of these different platforms, starting with Snapchat and now coming back even around to TikTok again. It's 5 times the amount of what they were doing before. It's a lot of money in terms of that. And what, to your point too, my concern with it is that how do you actually sustain this going forward still? Like, is this something that how like
I
are they
think
going
you
to make
don't.
sustainable revenue to keep it on their end? Do they just keep this creator fund going? Like, did they just keep on making a bunch of money and then have it as a creator fund? Because like on Facebook and on YouTube, they basically just say, okay, you guys are keeping about 45-50% of the ad revenue. We keep the other half, and we're just going to go off of that.
So
This is more
that's
like,
what'll happen, right? This is, we as a platform, say TikTok, say Snapchat, are figuring out monetization. We don't have a silver bullet yet. We're not like, we don't have an ad revenue system with like YouTube. Like, we're still trying to figure out what the right monetization system is for our platform that's going to work at scale for all these creators. And this is them they're buying themselves time to figure out that problem, right? It's like, how do we help people monetize at scale? And that's where it just takes time. Like, these are very smart people that are trying to solve this problem that is native to their platform. And what they've asked their, executives is, hey, we need more time. Can we do this? Because this will solve, creating quality content and helping people invest more time in TikTok. And I think it's just it's a smart strategy. I think we'll see more platforms. I think Clubhouse rolled out something similar, not to this level of scale, but an incentive for people to create content. And the only thing I think is hard and challenging is people will game this, because there is money and a relatively transparent way to get that money, people are going to game it. You know, they're gonna just think about ways to try and get on the leaderboard.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of their intention, though, right? Is like, hey, we want you guys to create content for us. We want more people to create content for us. So that's why that's why they're putting the creator fund out there, so that people will put out more content and will get more stuff to get millions or billions of views and have people stay on the platform. Like, I feel like that's the intention of what they're trying to do. I feel like it's a good way to do it. I think what's hard with it is, even people that do have relatively good audiences. I even saw a couple of people in chat. Pit Lane said he had a one hit 600K views on it. And then in the other chat as well, EJ said he got a couple to 50K, 60K, and then a couple were 5K and then 200. I think the hard thing is like keeping it consistently going, and you need to have so much content consistently going to it. So to kind of Mark's question is like, do you want to be in on everything? Yeah, if you can be, like, get in on it. If you can expand into other areas and, like, if you're getting enough traction off of it, definitely see if you can continue to do so. But I was just saying, like, to the point of, you specifically focusing on one, area, like, yeah, that can help you be a lot more focused, and I didn't expand out to a whole bunch of different platforms until really years of doing it. Like, I started to try and dabble with a couple of them, but because the competition is so strong, like if somebody is just specifically creating original organic content for TikTok, like that would be something that would probably end up doing better versus having such a multi-pronged copy paste approach from a whole bunch of different areas to it. And it is a really hard thing to balance. And I've talked with so many different creators about how they balance it, how they're trying to do it, figure it out on every single level. It's a difficult thing to master, but that's where if you can be creative about it, find ways to do it, that's how you can really start to differentiate and stand out.
Yeah, I think this is really exciting. But for all the platforms, I think you as a new creator, you should seize the opportunity here. I mean, even the most established creators can't afford to go all in on one platform. As a new creator, you kind of have that a little bit more flexibility in the beginning. We've seen creators in pipeline like television, Tactical Grandma really leaning in hard on TikTok and seeing some really great results. So if you like that format and you think you can keep that up, I would recommend investing the time and just making sure, to Snow's point, that you can be consistent, because you're not going to see results if you like do it a little bit and then drop off. Like, you really need to make sure you can keep creating that content.
Yeah, even on the shorts front too, even if it is similar content or whatever, being able to focus, and we'll talk more about shorts in a bit, so I don't want to get too much into that, but there's a lot of different opportunities that you can kind of dive in on that. Even like, I kind of want to get in on some of it, but I've only been spending a little bit of time here and there because I just can't fully commit to it. I still have my audiences of whatever else I'm trying to do and trying to balance everything else with it. And that's kind of where things can go. But $1 billion now into the creator fund, like this experimental, oh, maybe TikTok's going to be interesting. Maybe they're going to do stuff. We'll see where it goes. Is it going to get shut down? At this point, it is continuing to leverage up. And because we've seen other platforms, even like Vine, just completely get shut down. This is an indicator to me again that we're going to continue to see this platform grow, thrive. More people are just going to go to it. If you didn't start last week, or there's going to be even more people that are starting on it this week, and even more people next week and next month. And as more and more
The
creators
best
start actually
time
getting,
was yesterday. The second best time is now.
yeah, exactly. Like this is just going to be crazier. And as we see big payouts coming, with $1 billion now on this fund, who knows what, where this increases into the future.
If you want to find out more about that,
Crazier.
do check it out. There'll be more on the fund if you're looking to try and participate in that. We'll put links in the show notes afterwards. But if you want to check it out, do look up the Creator Fund with TikTok as well. We're going to move on to mental health as a creator, and how do you accommodate that within your community? Mark, hold the clip.
More and more people are looking for mental health help from content creators, but often content creators are not equipped to help. Other than going through Pipeline's mindset section, living a healthy life myself, and directing people to seek licensed therapists when they need it, how can I help my community when they reach out for mental health help? How do I know where the line is where someone really needs professional help?
This is such a challenging topic because there's an expectation of you as a creator as you start, your audience continues to grow, even when you've only got one person watching, and then as you grow to hundreds to thousands, there's an expectation on you to be like an expert in everything. And the reality is you're just not. Like, you don't know, like, you won't be that informed maybe about politics or about mental health or about certain world issues that are going on, like, but there's almost this kind of, you're on this platform, and people kind of expect you to know an answer or have an opinion on certain things, and it can be really challenging to have an ownership over that, and try and offer advice because you don't feel qualified enough, but you also want to be helped because it's just in your nature to want to help people out. My recommendation, after being in this space for the last decade and people trying to tackle different things, it's really, if you are going to comment on something, really reference experts. Don't try and pretend to know something or put an informed opinion, because even with the best intent in the world, and like you really just were trying to help, you'll say something wrong. You almost can never get it absolutely right. So if it is an area that is a little bit, more controversial, or there's like heated opinions on both sides, I would really recommend either stay away from completely, and just say, like, I'm not an expert in this, or if you know a trusted source that is an expert on it and kind of has the credibility, I would recommend pointing to that. I don't know, what's your thoughts, Stone, as you.
Yeah, I think having resources is a key. Even to your point of somebody mentioned something about like I know my couple areas really well of like the game, streaming, whatever it is. Like I have a lot of things that I could talk with for hours and hours about and have a good time, and or maybe get into depth even if it is heated or controversial. I have a lot of experience on some of those things. But then there's an entire wheelhouse that I don't. And there are even some streamers that are mental health professionals that are, registered, trained, everything that's the type of content that they do create. Even those people will tell you that, like, hey, I'm not your professional. I'm not, I don't know your specific case, all of these different things. And that's where resources, even if you can have moderators or have some of those tools and have some of those things to try and direct people in the right place, can be very helpful. I think it's really hard too because, a lot of times it's just talking with creators, like a lot of times they are just passionate people. They care about their community. They care about the people that are coming in, messaging them, even maybe sending a direct message or whatever it might be. And so it is hard, but you also cannot have personal responsibility for everybody that's watching you. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you can have a close relationship with people, or in some way your audience might feel like kids or like your family or whatever. But also, like, to your point too, as things continue to scale, at this point I have millions and millions and millions of people that are watching me, and I can't even message even just a couple people, even just not even related to mental health or whatever it might be. And so that's what I try and come across for people too, and just try and tell people. Even like I'll even get messages. People will tell me, that this troubling thing happened, or they're not feeling good, or whatever. And I just try and tell people what I am good at and where my strengths are and what I try and do and what my purpose is with my content and how I try and handle things. Where I try and have a positive environment. I try and create some good content, have some laughs, have a good time. If it is something that's more serious, or somebody messaged me about some of those things, then I can report it. I can try and guide them to certain things, but you know, I also can't take responsibility for everything that for everybody that's watching or what's going on. And so it is a really hard place, though.
Absolutely. And I think it's actually one of the reasons why we invested heavily is we relaunched the playbook pipeline in the last few months. A big section that we focused on, as Mark touched on, is mindset, and really thinking through that side of things, because it is
Yeah.
a big part of the equation, not just as a viewer, and thinking about how you handle viewers, but also yourself. As a content creator, you're going to have a lot of mental battles. It is very much a roller coaster. You're going to go up and down. Even it doesn't matter what level you're at. If you've got 10 followers, 1,000 followers, or 10 million followers, you're gonna have this emotional roller coaster. And I've seen it time and time again. And it is really important that you're thinking about taking care of your own mental health and your own mindset as you approach content creation, so that you can prepare for those ups and downs, and really push through. So if you remember, definitely go check out the mindset section that we just updated in the last few months. It's really critical information for any content creator to really think about, and have a perspective on. And as Stone said, if you're not an expert in something, try and just focus on what you are an expert in and like what you can bring to the table, whether you're an expert in streaming or this particular game. If it's certain topics, just be mindful of how much responsibility you take for it when you're not an expert, because it can go badly or go the other way, and you didn't even have that intent in the first place. It's much better to refer to experts than it is to take ownership over something that you're not an expert in.
And dealing with chat obviously can sometimes be interesting, especially if you guys are streamers or have dealt with some of that yourself, which leads next into our next topic. How do you fight online trolls and win?
How can I fight against toxic trolls other than rolling a d20? Some common tips are to focus on my core fans, use facts or humor to counter them, and block and report the real bad ones. But what do you guys recommend doing to deal with and prevent trolls or toxic interactions?
Those were all legitimate. Write those points down and try and use that as much as you can. Here's the thing though, even outside of that, there's a lot of tools that people use. Sometimes people even just engage with it, call it out, and that's just part of their content, is just roasting a person, or or even just having a dialogue, having a debate. And sometimes that can bring more people even on your side if that's part of your content, whatever that might be. There's a lot of different ways that you can handle it. One of my personal favorites is to just kind of ignore it and continue going on with whatever is happening. Obviously, that can help because now I do have a whole lot of people that are watching the content in the first place. So yeah, okay, I miss one comment, no big deal. I've got a couple people that are watching, and how do I ignore that? Well, it was even a similar thing, with how I handled it, even with less people watching as well, which is, all right, you're gone. And then I just kind of keep on going and focus on the people that are there that do care about it. It is really hard because sometimes it does get through, and there are comments that do suck to get, and for whatever that might be. And this is one of the really, really hard things I think about streaming in particular, whereas, you can upload a video and it's not real time. You can just mute it or ban it or whatever, and then you never even have to respond to it or whatever, whether it's on Instagram or whatever it might be, or you don't even need to look at it in some cases, especially at scale. A lot of people just stop even looking at comments because a lot of them can be really bad when there's, 1% of people might do it and there's 1,000 people. That's still, you know, more than one person.
I
Or
think
you
we also tend to, even in all the positive, we often tend to focus on the negative. So even
Yeah.
if it was like 1 out of 100 that was negative, we actually see the negative more
100%.
than we do the positive.
Yeah, and I can tell you from experience that that still continues even as things scale, and it doesn't matter. Like if you get 1,000 great comments and there's still 10 of them that suck, it still sucks to get some of those comments. And so a really big thing that I always try and focus on, again, kind of going back to that, is just focusing on what is good, to where if there is a real big debate or somebody's calling out hacks or whatever it might be, like I don't even delve into it, because that's 10 minutes, 5 minutes that I could spend on it. That really is just, I could spend replying to other things, creating another video, working on another stream. Like, you don't want to give up your mental bandwidth to a lot of that. And even for the stream that I'm in, trying to, if that does happen, just block it, reset, and just keep on going with the content that I'm working on making, because I know that I can upload that as a video. I know I can upload that as a TikTok, a clip. If I can get those pieces, like, I can't let it detract from the work that I'm already doing. And it can be difficult, and it doesn't always work, again, especially because it is live. Sometimes these things do come through. You've got to read it real time, and there's sometimes no avoiding it, especially if somebody sends something like a text to speech or something through. That's one of the things that even at scale, a lot of people that do stream on the scale, eh, that sometimes is in my audience, is like they just turn text to speech completely off because it can get really bad. Sometimes I sometimes will leave it on, and then I usually just try and play it out and whatever it means that is. But that's also a skill set that I've built up because I've dealt with so many of these terrible comments over all these years. If anything, use that as a practicing ground and as a tool for you, so that as things do continue, and you've now been doing it for, for me, I've been doing it for 9 years now, right? Like, I have seen so many comments. Like, for the most part, I've seen everything. For the most part, in terms of threats or people not liking me for a ton of different reasons. They pick everything I do apart. but I pick all my own stuff apart too. So like even I know what some of the things that I don't like about what my own content is and how I need to improve too. But a lot of that is just the ways that I respond to it. Those are all muscles that I've built up in terms of if I do get something real time text to speech, I'll throw something out. A lot of times it still doesn't even stick. People might think it's still stupid, the stuff that I say in response to it, or I try and make a joke, it completely flops, whatever it is. But if it does work out, then that could be even more content from it. So it is
Think
100% something you have to deal with. It is a difficult task to deal with, but it is something that uh, you want to get good at being, especially streaming in a space.
two quick things on that I would add is don't take it personally. It's very tempting to do that. You really need to try and not take it personally. You know who you are, and really, on that, might be a stranger that is the first time ever seeing your content, and they're just kind of making a quick assessment. So just really don't take things personally as best as you can. The second thing is you can choose how you respond to this. Whether to Stone said, there's like a couple of different tactics, not one way. There's many different ways that you could do it. But over time, your community is a reflection of you and how you've kind of managed and built and curated that community. So if you're okay with toxicity and you're kind of celebrating it or engaging with it, your community might become really toxic and trolly, and like that could be part of your brand. If you're kind of letting it go and fly, and some people do that. Like there's some very popular creators that have a more trolly kind of toxic community. Um, if you don't want that, you need to be kind of intentional about it. You need to think about, okay, how do I make sure that the community that I'm cultivating is about positivity, is about like, feel good time, like, have fun. You need to consciously make that happen. It won't just happen. So you have to choose like whether it's, banned words, whether it's like, having your moderators, engage or not engage in certain things, or it's when you're on stream live, like, are you going to call that thing out or are you not going to call that thing out? Are you going to make fun of it or are you going to just let it like pass on it? Like you need to consciously work on that, because if you let it spiral out of control, your community will just become that, and it's very hard to wind it back, if you kind of let it get out of control, after months or after years. So you want to make sure that you kind of have a pretty strong stance on what kind of community you're trying to build in the beginning.
And you might get it wrong and you might say stuff wrong or whatever that is. That's okay. Just keep on recognizing it and focus on, what is working and the people that are willing to be around for what it is and keep on improving from there. And that leads also into our next topic. What's the best?
YouTube Shorts is still rolling out, but I don't want to miss out on the early adopter wave. What strategy or strategies should I employ to succeed using YouTube Shorts? What's worked for you guys or other people you guys know?
I kind of like YouTube Shorts now. At first, I was pretty hesitant about it, but they are kind of taking over the space of TikTok, which is these
Well,
1 minute long formats. They're trying to get into that space as well, where they can have this shorter form content, which YouTube typically is more, 8, 10, 15, even 30-minute videos, more in that range typically.
what made you hesitant?
Uh, well, mostly the amount of work that goes into creating something that's new, as well as oftentimes the way that I use YouTube and I see it being used is longer form content. You could put ads in that as well. Like we've got a system that's working, it's good. This could I don't know, this could throw a wrench in it, I guess.
It's change, right? It's like you know what works, you know what doesn't work, and you've kind of got an understanding of it. Now there's this new thing they're kind of throwing in there, and you got to like
Yeah.
adapt.
Which I mean, yeah, it opens up a lot of opportunities as well to even what we've been talking about. But I guess some of the stuff that I've seen work really well, and this is even just looking at my overall YouTube feed, you'll see things I've seen at least things that are like a minute long, 2 minutes long, 3 minutes long, much shorter now being populated into recommended videos, recommended search, as well as shorts that are popping up. Most of those are happening over on the shorts specifically are on mobile right now. So, a lot of this stuff is still rolling out. But some of the stuff that I've seen really be effective is driving value in a similar to way what is being done on TikTok, where it's high completion rates, a lot of value packed into a short amount of time, whether that's something that's funny, extremely clickbaity content as well, that actually then delivers at least in a portion to what it is to still drive click through. But again, it's mostly, I think, about a lot of the retention and the actual percentage completed watched. One of the great examples that I can say, even from Warzone, is something that I found recently. This guy's basically just been flooring it for the past month, has just been doing jump spots in Warzone. He's going across, especially with the new map. This is a massive opportunity. Something I was planning to spin up myself, but I haven't put the resources behind it or had the time to actually create a series around it. But I was going to do a more full length, longer form piece. This guy thought, okay, well, let's take even something that's already being done, right? This guy's a relatively brand new creator from what I can tell, and he's doing these little spots of where you can jump up on a certain location, and it's like really big stuff. And I saw one pop up that had 1 million views on it, and he's had 5 of them since have over 100,000 views. So it can be something that can be an absolute takeoff again because it is such short content. It can just blow itself into the algorithm, and then you can get a lot of subscribers retention off of that, which then you can spin off into other categories, hopefully into streams, into maybe longer form videos and other content. But if you can get people to watch in the first place, then that can cover a lot of it as well.
I think that's one of the opportunities as a new creator. And we kind of touched on this a few times. More established creators have a workflow, have a process. They can understand their systems. Like for live creators, especially, they're live like 5, 6 days a week, and live for a big chunk of the day. Rolling out new things, even though they have more resources than an established creator, it's just very hard to move quickly and start trying out those new things. And as someone who's just in the beginning in the early stages, you actually have a lot of opportunity to try these new things out much faster and not worry about, okay, well, I've got this series on this channel and this, like, you can try out and experiment with these new formats, whether that's TikTok, whether that's shorts, a lot faster. The challenge that you'll face is, I know a lot of creators are listening and I can see you in chat. The challenge is the confidence part, like being confident enough to go have a shot and try out making a short or try out making a TikTok and kind of putting yourself out there in a way that's very unfamiliar. It's challenging, but I promise you on the other side of that, there's growth. It might not just be like pure content growth. It might just be like your own confidence kind of growing and being able to try new things out. I would encourage you, if you've been thinking about it, if you've been like, should I make a short or should I make a TikTok? Make a commitment to yourself by the end of this week that you'll at least put one up and just like
Yeah.
commit to that.
The example too, some people are asking who it was. It's that's underscore Frosty on YouTube. If you want to check it out, I mean, looking at it, he had a bunch of videos that were up that had maybe a couple hundred views of just general clips, but over the past week, he's changed his strategy, and now all of his videos are over 10,000 views, kind of focusing more on shorts. And these are even over a little bit over a minute long. The same thing is true though in a variety of different aspects. Even if it's looking at stuff that you enjoy, seeing where you maybe have interest in, maybe you can combine a couple series, present it in a different way, even especially if it's really in a competitive game or something where there is a lot of competition, then you kind of have to take an even different approach. So taking the approach of creating that shorter form content, putting it on TikTok, that's where a lot of people have blown up, even just looking at weapon breakdowns, weapon challenges, a variety of different giving challenges to other creators. And even Tim the Tapman has created all of these different series of like, hey, I tried this TikTok breakdown of this gun or whatever it is from these creators. There's a lot of different ways that you can utilize it and try some different things out, see where you can be unique with it.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of feedback. Like, I think doing a TikTok is harder than streaming in front of a camera, which is interesting because I'm sure TikTok creators will go, "Oh my god, the idea of sitting in front of a camera talking to people live, that's terrifying." But, kind of both sides will have their kind of thoughts or stories around it. One of the things we found is we ran the scholarship program, a pipeline over the last few months. The first kind of group is just completed theirs, and we're starting the second group now. One of the big takeaways that changed for a lot of our scholars was their confidence, because they were increasing the amount of content that we're putting out and trying different content types, but also trying on different platforms. The big takeaway was confidence. They feel more confident in their content, in their ability to try new things, in the ability to schedule and commit to things, etc. So I would, the more you can try and put yourself out there and try things, you'll start to build that confidence. I was actually chatting with the talent manager who's been in this space for a long time the other day, and we were just talking about some of the. I was a young kid when I first started out, and I know many of my peers were just young kids, and we didn't have any confidence. We built it over time, and it's just through repetition of trying things and making mistakes that you start to become more confident. The big thing is just that fear in the early stages. So And the same is true with shorts. It's a new format. It's like, oh, I was just getting comfortable with the idea of starting on TikTok, and now there's shorts, and I'm like not sure if I should do shorts. And you'll get in this like decision paralysis, and you're like, "Ah, I don't know which one I want to do." And just make a decision. And again, if you've been thinking about it, this is my challenge to those that are listening that are content creators. If you've been thinking about doing it for a while, whether it's shorts or TikTok, by the end of this week, just do one. That's it. Just do one by the end of this week.
And I mean, like, can you use videos that you post from other platforms on social media? 100%. You can utilize, even re-edit, reutilize content. It's something that, for example, even on my channels right now, I've kind of got a second channel where I upload a lot of my content from my streams, and my main channel is kind of my top plays, maybe some of the really, really crazy stuff that makes it onto my main channel, and then some commentaries, some other things that are, a little bit more, a YOLO, a kind of more funny video. But what I'll do is take some of those other moments that maybe won't make it into a full video, and I'm putting those as shorts, or maybe they even are already on my second channel, but people don't actually want to go watch all my streams and all my content that I'm uploading there. So it's taking some of those moments out that aren't necessarily going to be seen or ever watched, or maybe it was something I was even already uploaded that I can pull out a reaction. I was actually talking with Sugar, one of our members, Sugar Socks, in our mentorship session recently, and she said she's been utilizing shorts to a great capacity. It's kind of been more of her reactions and some of the funny things, or how she's reacting to things, and that's given her incredible traction. Now getting thousands of views on some of her TikToks. So it's like, or excuse me, on her shorts. But you could easily utilize some of that content. Maybe it works on one, maybe it doesn't work on the other. Even for myself, for some of my reels that I post, that are also on TikTok, sometimes they work really good on reels. Sometimes they blow up on TikTok for whatever reason over there. And like, even though it's a similar piece of content, maybe we'll try it a couple different ways. But even if it's the exact same piece of content, sometimes it works really well on one, not so well on the other.
Yeah. Just put yourself out there. We're doing that even on the pipeline side. We got a relatively small team, but we're firing on all cylinders to try and put content on different platforms too. And we're seeing results. We tried it Reels in the last week, and we're seeing some good results on Reels. So definitely recommend it. Stone, we're at time. This was a packed hour
Definitely.
of covering everything going on in the content creator world. I need to give you a quick shout out because you don't get a lot of shout outs. Is last week you crushing those numbers on Facebook. That was the highest ever
Yeah.
live streaming numbers accomplished. So for those
64K concurrents. My
for,
previous record was 37K concurrent, but blew it out of the water with that one, which is insane. The following day, we almost beat it again, hit 57K for the update for Warzone, which was a huge opportunity. I'm hoping that I did well on that in terms of trying to bring some of those people back, as well as get ready for the next time there's an update. Maybe I could do even better on it. We'll see.
absolutely crushed it. Those are huge numbers. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. If you want to learn more about Pipeline, you can find out on our website, pipeline.gg. We have a community of thousands of creators, and we highly encourage you to join if you've not already. Loved having this session in the last hour. We're here every other week running State of Streaming, so make sure you follow and subscribe to the channel. If you're looking for the VOD, that'll be up on YouTube very soon. So thank you so much for hanging out. I wish you all an incredible week.